So if somebody would like to share what happened, you can just wave your hand. Krishna, okay? Oh. Are you going to share, Krishna, or are you leaving?
Sorry, there was somebody on the door. Of course, I like to share.
Okay.
There was the third time there was a very soft and nice energy coming, very loving and very, I feel very good in it. And yeah.
You notice how simple it is?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's an interesting thing, you know, when a lot of spiritual people, maybe it's natural in the beginning when you first get interested, it's maybe natural that people are expecting something very, very special to happen. But of course, the truth is that all those special things are the things that need to disappear. And what is left is very, very simple. And so we probably spent 10 minutes sitting quietly together. And in the last part of that 10 minutes, you fell into something that you say felt very good. And this is essentially going to be your nature, because your true nature is love. And most people experience love as something like bliss or peace. And this is always, of course, very good. So you've got something very close to you, just 10 or 15 minutes away, perhaps, or even closer. A few minutes away, you have something that feels very, very good. And the beautiful thing about it is always available, because that's your essential nature. It has to be always there. It's impossible for it ever to disappear. It's always there. But of course, we don't have contact most of the time. And we don't have contact. Why? Because we're constantly identifying with the thoughts. And most people have thoughts completely from the past. Some people think about the future, but most of the time, thoughts tend to be to do with the past. And so when you remember this simple thing, then it's very easy to stay in the present. You don't gain anything by remembering the past. You can never change it. It happened when it happened, and it was like that. Maybe you can make a judgment about it, but what's the point 30, 40 years later? Like myself, you have a white beard, so probably it's quite a many years ago. And there's no value in remembering those things. There's a big value in forgetting all that and coming to something where you're not involved in too much thinking. You leave the thoughts, knowing that the thoughts are all garbage. It's all garbage stuff. And there are a few people, and we have to feel a bit sad for those few people, who actually believe that they are their thoughts. This is a very, very sad thing. And it's so sad because the vast majority of humanity, maybe 99%, they believe their thoughts. They believe they are the thoughts. And sometimes I think even Krishna can forget who he is and think he's the thoughts. And that leads, as you know, that leads to pain and suffering. And when you come to this beautiful space, which is your essence, then you feel completely differently. It's like a different human being suddenly. But this is your essential nature. This is who you really are. And all this thinking, all the thoughts, this is all garbage, smelly old stuff. Okay, okay. So perhaps somebody else likes to share something. Or maybe I'll invite Parvati. Would you like to be invited, Parvati?
Hello, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in my case, the silence is always very close, I can say.
Right.
And also, it is in the third phase, to fall deep, it's also that the space is more wider, and I can also say this ordinary, that it's very ordinary.
Right. Well, as I was just saying, when we're beginning our spiritual journey, we tend to be looking for something very special. I remember in my own case, you know, I was about 32 years old, something like this. And I was looking for something to be very special. And the particular teacher I had in those days, he talked a lot about something he called enlightenment. And it sounded very, very special. And so he hooked me in the idea that I would definitely like to have this thing called enlightenment. He never told me that I already had it. Unfortunately, I had to go through many years of spiritual practices and many years before I met another teacher. And this second teacher showed me very clearly that I already had this thing that the other teacher called enlightenment. So we all have this possibility very close to us to realize the truth of who we really are. And this truth is very, very simple. So anybody who has ideas about some, fantastic moment, unfortunately, it won't happen because the one of the, I guess, prime spiritual masters in the last couple of 100 years is Ramana Maharshi. And he lived a very, very simple life, very ordinary life. You could even say boring life because he was living in a small retreat, ashram, and the buildings were made out of bamboo, nothing luxury in the beginning. And he spent his time in very simple, everyday walking, sitting, helping to cook. Very simple life he led. But clearly, anybody who came to talk to him would touch this golden essence inside. And we all have this golden essence. The existence provides everybody without any question. Everybody has this golden essence. And then it is up to us whether we connect to that golden essence or we stay with the mind. And of course, many, many people, or most people, have very strong conditionings about their thoughts, and they've been led to believe that whatever they think, that's them, that's me. And so that holds the majority of humanity to live in a kind of self-made prison. Self-made prison. So, anyway. Okay, maybe one more person. Maybe a volunteer. Okay, Jai, I would like to share. Very good. You say something, Jaya, and then you will see you.
Ah, okay.
Hello?
Ja, hallo.
Okay. Hello, hello.
Ja, also ich fühle mich meistens so wohl in der Meditation, dass ich gar nicht mehr auftauchen will. Dass ich immer schade finde, wenn es beendet ist.
We have a translation, brother. Oh,
Yeah.
can you translate?
Yeah, rather now you can.
Okay, so most in the meditation, I feel very comfortable that I don't want to appear again. And so it's always a pity when it ends.
Right, right. Yeah. Where are you? Actually, the ceiling above you is broken.
Wo bist du denn? Die Decke über dir ist gerissen, gebrochen.
Die Decke? Nein.
Ah, you mean me?
You rather.
That's my
I'm
room.
talking
ja.
That's my room.
above
It's
your
my
head.
room.
There is something broken on the ceiling. Yeah, near
Yeah,
your head.
it's my room.
Okay, maybe it needs fixing.
Yeah, then if you fix it, you can't open the window anymore. It's a little bit space. If you open the window goes into this corner. Very
Okay.
professional made.
Right. Typical open sky house. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to Jaya. Could you say something, Jaya?
Kannst du etwas sagen, Jaya?
Ja,
Okay. Yeah.
was soll ich sagen? Ich fühle mich einfach wohl in der Meditation und möchte nicht auftauchen.
Yeah, what I said. I feel very comfortable in the meditation. I don't want to show up again or appear again.
Right, right. Yeah. And everybody can see on your face right now, there is a kind of Mona Lisa smile.
Jeder kann so auf deinem Gesicht sehen momentan, dass da wie so ein Mona Lisa-Lächeln ist.
This is a sort of Buddha smile, if you like.
Das ist so dieses Butterlächeln, könnte man sagen.
This is an expression of coming to that place inside.
Das ist so ein Ausdruck dafür, dass du eben an diesen Ort in dir kommst.
Ich freue mich sehr auf Indien.
I'm looking forward very much to India.
Ah, okay. Yes, yes. Yeah. And we have a nice group of people and everything should be fine. Yeah.
Ja, wir haben eine schöne Gruppe und alles wird sicherlich gut.
We've been going to India for the last 20, well, to this one ashram, we've been going there for the last 22 years. And
Zu diesem Ashram gehen wir die letzten 22 Jahre.
and apparently they've had some changes recently, but one man who we knew, I think we knew him 10 or 12 years ago, very nice man, and his family, they are going to cook for us.
Also anscheinend gibt es dann ein paar Veränderungen in der letzten Zeit, aber ein Mann, den wir schon seit Jahren kennen und ein sehr netter Mann ist und seine Familie, die kochen für uns.
Yeah, and I think you're flying together with the community, yeah?
Yes, yes, yes.
We'll look after you, so nothing to worry about.
Wir schauen nach dir, du brauchst keine Gedanken machen.
Ja. Super. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Very nice. So, let me think. Anybody we haven't talked for a long time, actually? I don't know.
Jemand, mit dem wir noch schon länger nicht gesprochen
Or
haben.
looking right through, yeah. Maybe we have a Russian. How about maybe Hanuman? Let's ask Hanuman. Hanuman, would you like to share? Kate, can you translate for him?
Hanuman.
Are you there, Hanuman?
Hanuman?
Now I see you.
Хануман, ты меня слышишь?
Да, я вас слышу хорошо. Добрый вечер всем.
And good evening, I hear you well.
Oh,
And how is things then in Tropea? Is the sun shining or is it getting cold again? Winter is
Сейчас в
coming.
Триполи зима приходит, либо же, в принципе, солнечно достаточно.
Да, пришла зима, очень холодно, но у нас есть хороший котел и достаточный запас дров. Мы очень благодарны. Бог хорошо о нас заботится.
Yes, winter is coming, but we have a good heating and we have enough wood, so we are really blessed and God think about us,
Right, right. And this
care of
new
us. Yeah.
new heating system, is it requiring less of your time? Is it easier to keep it running?
И эта отопительная система ваша меньше всего внимания требует.
Ну, оно требует внимания. Конечно, требует внимания, чтобы система работала хорошо. Без людей система не может работать.
Of course, it will take some time, but the systems need people who take care of it anyway.
You know, I remember with the old system, you had to get up in the night, and so you didn't sleep much in the winter. But with the new stove, do you still have to wake up early in the morning?
Нужно крайне вставать по ночам, уже рано утром, чтобы следить за системой.
Ну, ночью нам приходится останавливать котел, потому что ситуация с электричеством еще нестабильна. Если выключат электричество, то котел может получить аварийную ситуацию. Поэтому мы в 12 часов котел останавливаем, и утром, когда холодно, его заводим снова.
We turn off the heating system for the night because it's not safe, because electricity is not stable still, and we need to do it right now.
Виджей придумал хитрую систему, но эта система должна еще пройти тест. Мы надеемся, что Виджей примет решение и поедет с тобой в Индию и приедет к нам на пару дней, чтобы мы проверили эту систему. Провели тест.
Vijay has a trick, but we need to check it out how it's going to work. And we hope so that Vijay going to join you in India. And after that, he come back to us and maybe help us with this.
Okay, yeah. He hasn't replied to my invitation yet.
Vijay не отвечает Джон Дэвиду на приглашение.
Это в стиле Виджея. У него старый телефон, он сидит в какой-то яме, без связи и отопления. У него непростая ситуация.
So this is Vijay style. So looks like he has difficulties to connect with old phone.
Он болен.
Before he left, we gave him a very nice new phone, so he should be able to connect to us.
Мы подарили ему новый телефон, так что я думаю, что он должен теперь как-то с нами контактировать.
Да, он им колет орехи, наверное. Очень удобно.
Looks like he doesn't use it as he should.
Okay, maybe you can teach him how to send a message. You know, he can send a message on that phone. We can send an email on that phone.
Хануман, может быть, ты его научишь немного, как пользоваться телефоном, отправлять имейлы, отправлять сообщения.
Okay. Anyway, you seem to be good. So anything interesting happened during the meditation?
Вы выглядит так, что у тебя все хорошо, что интересное с тобой произошло во время медитации.
Ну, моя медитация, я медитирую постоянно, даже когда двигаюсь. Я напоминаю себе, что же я напоминаю себе?
I have a meditation even when I'm moving. So, and every time I'm trying to remind myself.
Yeah.
Я не могу найти, идеи о просветлении. Раньше я очень хотел быть просветленным, пробужденным. Сейчас я как-то спокойно отношусь. Ну, как-то меня это не очень беспокоит сейчас.
Before I have an idea to be enlightenment, but right now I catch myself that I couldn't meet the expectations that I had before, and right now I'm very quiet and I'm not looking for something special.
Good. That's very good. Yeah.
Очень хорошо.
Don't look for anything special. It's when it really happens, it's very ordinary.
Не ищи ничего особенного. На самом деле, когда это случается, это очень обычно.
It's a strange paradox, you know, that we're looking for something special so that we don't feel the pain, we don't feel the suffering, so we want to have something special.
На самом деле это парадокс, потому что когда мы ищем что-то особенное, мы не чувствуем боль либо что-то еще, потому что мы находимся в поиске вот этого вот особенного.
But what we don't realize is that if we simply stop thinking, it's already special.
Но на самом деле, когда ты просто перестаешь думать, то это уже является особенным.
Because without thinking, we end up very quiet.
Потому что не думая, мы становимся очень тихими.
And when we're quiet, then we saw already from two of the people who shared, we see this kind of Buddha smile.
Так что, в принципе, когда мы в тишине, то, согласно людям, которые делились своими знаниями, то мы как будто видим улыбку Будды.
You can say this is the smile of emptiness.
Это улыбка тишины, пустоты.
And this is the most special thing in any human being's life.
И я считаю, что это самая особенная часть в человеческой жизни.
But it doesn't in any way fit our ideas of what would be special.
И на самом деле это никак не сопоставимо с нашими идеями, что такое вот это вот особенное, что мы ищем.
So all the ideas we have, you know, we have many ideas if we're a spiritual person. We have many ideas about it. But actually all these ideas are essentially, I can tell you now, 99% rubbish.
И вот эти вот идеи касательно того, что мы духовные люди и тому подобное, что я могу тебе сказать, что 99% из этого это мусор.
Because the reality is that this specialness, this emptiness is very close.
Но реальность такова, что вот эта вот особенность, эта пустота, она очень близко.
Anyway, good to talk to you.
Хорошо с тобой было поболтать.
Okay, so so I'm having some. Okay. Having some technical problems here. I think you might have to come and help me. I can't get the whole menu back. So, oh, yeah, maybe I can now. Okay. Oh, okay, here we are. Okay, now it's all right. It's all right. I got it. Okay, so so we have another little film for tonight. This is called Divine Wisdom. very short film. And this is exactly on the subject that I was just talking about. So after the film, if you have any question or you'd like to ask, share something, then let me know. Somebody who travels around the world, or somebody who gets into drugs and alcohol, you know, in some ways, both those things are searching for something. And maybe we don't find it in the drugs and the alcohol, or we don't find it traveling around the world, you know. But on some deeper level, that voice that I'm suggesting is our essence talking, our essential nature talking. And you maybe notice this voice doesn't seem to be the same as the mind, because you're very familiar with the mind, you're very familiar with the thoughts, but this voice seems to be a bit different, has a bit different quality. I prefer to use something like divine wisdom, which includes everyone sitting here. We're not separate from this divine wisdom. And this divine wisdom can somehow speak to us, but it doesn't speak in the same way as the mind. So it's much more subtle, you could say. And at the same time, as you become more aware of your inner world, you'll find that this voice, this very subtle voice, will become more and more clear and can easily become the motivator of your life. Okay, I think we'll watch it one more time as it's so short. Can we play it again, Owen? Somebody who travels around the world, or somebody who gets into drugs and alcohol, you know, in some ways, both those things are searching for something. And maybe we don't find it in the drugs and the alcohol, or we don't find it traveling around the world, you know. But on some deeper level, that voice that I'm suggesting is our essence talking, our essential nature talking. And you maybe notice this voice doesn't seem to be the same as the mind, because you're very familiar with the mind, you're very familiar with the thoughts, but this voice seems to be a bit different, has a bit different quality. I prefer to use something like divine wisdom, which includes everyone sitting here. We're not separate from this divine wisdom. And this divine wisdom can somehow speak to us, but it doesn't speak in the same way as the mind. So it's much more subtle, you could say. And at the same time, as you become more aware of your inner world, you'll find that this voice, this very subtle voice, will become more and more clear and can easily become the motivator of your life. Okay. So, you know, this is a very simple little film, yeah? Very, very simple. And the whole game of spiritual life is very, very simple. How could it ever be very complicated? How could it ever satisfy our ideas about how it should be? You see, how could it ever do that? In my own case, I had a teacher, and my first teacher was Osho, and he was always talking about enlightenment. And he was always talking about this as being something very, very special. and almost nobody would ever get this thing called enlightenment. And he had some ideas about, how I might get it. And it was very clear to me that I absolutely wanted to get this thing called enlightenment. It sounded really, really special. And I was a kind of young guy who had been a bit successful in my 20s. And I definitely was interested in something very special, something that not many people were ever going to get. And of course, this ashram in India, in those days, it was very exciting. Everybody was wearing this color that I have on tonight. I didn't know that I was wearing it in empathy to Osho. But anyway, everybody in the ashram was running around in this kind of color clothes. And we all had beads around our necks with a picture of Osho at the bottom of the necklace. So I used to have this nice wooden necklace, and I used to wear a very long skirt, like a dress, a long dress. And everybody was, mostly everybody had this long dress, whether they're a man or a woman. And it's very hot in India, so we didn't wear anything else really, just this long dress. And we had a lot of fun. And I was constantly trying to be a good boy and meditate a lot and be quiet a lot, because I definitely wanted this thing called enlightenment, which I assumed would be something very, very special. And now I can say, looking back onto my 32 years old John David, when I look back, he was completely having all the kind of desires that he already had when he was working in society, when he was going to university, when he was looking for a girlfriend. All the same motivations were there, but now instead of, more money or a nicer girlfriend, now I was wanting enlightenment, enlightenment. So it didn't work really. I mean, the meditation was working. So while I was caught up in this idea about enlightenment, I was meditating a lot, because the advice I got was that meditation would be very helpful if I wanted to get this thing called enlightenment. So, the Buddha was often portrayed meditating, and so on and so on. So I was completely happy to meditate a lot. And in fact, I became quite good at meditating. And so out of this meditation, I had kind of little moments, sort of energetic moments. And I gradually realized that I got quieter and quieter, very imperceptibly. And I would spend my whole day, every day, basically meditating. I did all kinds of different kinds of meditation, including Tai Chi. I did 2 or 3 hours of Tai Chi every day, sitting meditations, active meditations, sitting doing nothing meditations, all kinds of things. And one day I was having my breakfast, and I saw I don't know what it was, a bee or a wasp, some little insect flew past me. And I saw this insect. It was as if for the first time I saw insects. And I looked down on the ground, and it was crawling with insects. And I realized that somehow I had never really actively connected to insects. And that after some months of meditation, I'd become quiet enough that I could meet the insects. So this was a very profound moment, because I realized in that moment when I started to connect with the insects, and India has lots of insects, I realized somehow in that moment that I had got a big benefit from meditation. I hadn't had any real way to judge my benefit until the moment where suddenly I met insects for the first time in my life. And I realized how beautiful they were and how varied they were. So many kinds of insects, flying ones, crawling ones, and so on. So this was, I mean, I didn't become, an expert on insects. I wasn't so interested in the insects, but I was very interested to realize that something profound was changing inside me. And it was the first moment for me to really get a sense of that. And I continued for many more years meditating a lot. And I realized along the way of this journey, I realized that gradually I was losing my ideas about how things should be. I wasn't really interested anymore how things should be, but I still was very caught up on this idea of enlightenment, which when I would look back, I realized in one way was a mistake, but in another way, because of the kind of person I was, I needed something like special. I needed to have some desire for something special. Without that, I probably wouldn't have stayed in India. I'd have gone back and carried on with my previous life. So it had its purpose, you could say. It had its purpose. But of course, in fact, it was a kind of sabotage that was happening to me because I was constantly, in a way, looking to the future, looking for something that was going to come to me in the future. So I wasn't in fact, looking back, I can say I wasn't very really present. I wasn't very much in the now. I was in the hope of the future. And later in my life, when I left his body and I'd connected with another spiritual master, when I went to visit him, he very quickly punctured my old idea. So he took away one of my most favorite ideas or favorite concepts. He took it away, and I realized, being in his presence, that actually there was no such thing as this special enlightenment. So this was a kind of another profound moment. And these profound moments take many years, in fact. So they're not things that you can understand by thinking about. You will never understand by thinking about. You have to get rid of the thoughts. You have to get rid of the concepts. Any kind of idea like enlightenment, you have to get rid of this, you see. This takes time because we're very identified with this. We're all in the beginning very identified. I myself was very identified. Okay, would somebody like to have a dialogue with me? Okay, Lakshmi.
Yeah. Looking back, there were, I think, many things existence took over. And for example, when I went to the cinema in 2040, I saw the film The Great Misunderstanding. And after it...
Cinema? You saw my film in a cinema?
Yes, really?
Mouse and Disney.
Yeah. And in the foyer afterwards, I met Indira and maybe Radha, I don't know exactly. And they asked if my colleague and I would have a room for a satsang, because you were in Bamberg and he wanted to give a satsang, and there I met you.
Right.
And this, it's truly existence took over. I'm so sure that existence took over, and that I could meet you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the way it all works, you know. It's that there is a kind of happening, and life is a happening. I mean, just recently, your tenant in your house in wherever it is, anyway, your tenant is leaving. You told us maybe you have to leave the community and stop your spiritual work because your tenant is going to leave. And now I understand a few days ago you went there and found a new tenant.
Yes.
A bit longer than the old tenant.
So
that right?
easy. Yes. Oh, I did nearly nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing nearly nothing is the best doing you can possibly do. You see.
Yeah. It's really wonderful.
I mean, Ramana Maharshi, when he was sitting he used to live up on the hill, you know, up on the Arunachala mountain. He came down because his mother had died and they had buried her at the bottom of the mountain. So he came and sat with her. And then his disciples built like a simple bamboo hut over where he was sitting, so he could be a bit protected from the sun. Often it could be very hot sun, or it could be very strong rain. So they constructed something over his, where he was sitting next to his mother's grave. He used to come and sit there. And then one day he decided, well, I don't need to go back again. What's the reason I go back? I just can stay here. So then he started to stay there day by day. And then, of course, the disciples who were living with him up on the hill, they decided, well, if our teacher is now going to live down on the bottom of the hill, we better go and join him. So they all came down and they built, I don't know really, but I can imagine they all built some small huts. Each person maybe making a small bamboo hut for himself, or maybe they made some bigger huts for a few people together. And this was the beginning then of an ashram. Very, very simple beginning. And then gradually they decided to, Ramana Maharshi actually decided to construct buildings out of stone, bricks and stones. And so then it was like a different quality. The ashram was starting to get a little bit bigger, more people were getting involved. And at the same time, they were living very simply without any money. And the disciples were saying, well, how can we manage? How can we build an ashram? We have no money, we have no possibilities. And Ramana would say, don't worry, what we need will be provided. What we need will be provided. So now in 2 weeks, we're going to India and we'll be sitting in this ashram, visiting this ashram. And sure enough, what was needed was provided. And that was probably in around 1930, maybe 27 or something, maybe they started. So now here we are many, many years later. Hundreds, thousands of people have visited this ashram, been touched by the energy of the ashram. And it started off in a very, very simple way. And one thing led to the other thing, led to another thing. You see. So this is destiny. This is the unfolding of our life. You see. So you say that when you met me that night in a meeting in your town, this was your destiny unfolding. Because since that time, you stayed in contact with me and you had some good experiences. You made a big decision because you're an elderly lady. You made a very courageous decision to leave your beautiful house and come to this crazy community. And it's not always so comfortable, it's not always so easy, but you stayed here, you see. And even though you try to have an excuse that you have to go back to your house, existence is arranging things in such a way that now you have somebody to look after your house and you can stay here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Of course, in the process of what you've been going through, I'm sure what was being suggested in this film has been happening to you. So some years ago, you operated probably completely from your mind. And now you operate more and more from your essence. So you operate more and more from some divine wisdom, you can say.
More subtle, yeah.
More subtle and a delicate voice, a different quality of voice.
Yeah, it's getting quieter.
Yeah,
Quieter and
right.
quieter.
Right. And so in this way, you can see that progress has been happening. It's not always easy to see this from day to day, but now over some period, you can see that something is happening, which is something you can welcome. Okay, good. Good. So we have another volunteer. Are you there actually, Helmut? I understand you don't have a camera, but do you have a microphone? Do you hear what I'm saying? No, maybe not. Could you see if Helmut is there behind his?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like his microphone is not working.
Okay. Okay, well, anyway, Helmut, maybe for next week, we welcome you again and you can, oh, Helmut suddenly become a woman. It's interesting. Aha, Savita. So maybe I talk with you. Shall I talk with you? Have you just arrived in the meeting or did you see the films?
I didn't see the film. I was maybe 10 minutes. I listened to the conversation with Lakshmi already.
Okay. Anyway, let's have a talk as you popped up in the moment I was trying to connect to Helmut, but he's going to come next week and talk to us, I hope. So if you're listening to Helmut, try to get a camera and I mean, most computers have a camera. You just need to activate it. And if you connect to Om, he can tell you how to activate your camera, and he can tell you where the microphone is, because probably you have a microphone. And if you've only got an iPhone, all those things work on the iPhone as well. And Om is a tech whiz. He can sort out any technical problems. Okay, so how is Savita? How is Destiny working for you?
So Destiny wanted to teach me to deal with much frustration, I guess. So always come into the store and always they will say, oh, we don't want, or oh, the owner is not there. After this I felt something, but I didn't want to feel it. And then I tried to feel it, and it was really painful. Yeah.
Well, pain is quite useful, you know. If you think of your body pain, you know, we cut ourselves with a knife or something like that. The other night, I cut my finger with a knife, not very badly, just a little bit. But I don't know why. There was a lot of blood, so it looked quite bad, but wasn't really very bad. But when the body gets pain like that, the kind of little bit of pain you get from cutting your finger, then you see the blood and you know you can't just leave it like that. So I put it under the tap and put some cold water, and then there seems to be less blood. And then right in front of my eyes, I saw some plasters, put some plaster around. And so the pain that I experienced by cutting my finger was also a pain that helped me to fix it. And the same thing in the mind. So when you get an experience of frustration, you basically are not looking to be frustrated. You're not looking to be unhappy. You're not looking to be sad. We always want to choose happiness and all kind of positive things. And we're not going to choose something like frustration, because frustration can be quite painful. But this is also a kind of teaching, you see. It's like I was saying in the film, you can, well, in fact, you were a good case. You were traveling around the world, I think was it for a year?
Yeah.
So we met you at the end of your year. You were a young woman, you traveled around the world, you were looking for something. Maybe you didn't quite know what you were looking for, but whatever it was, you didn't find it. So you went all around the world. You went to this country, that country, this island, this beach, this mountain, all kind of places. But when you came back after traveling for a year, you hadn't actually found what you were looking for. Had you? Did you?
I think partly. I think it was very helpful, those experience, to settle down and to really know that this is not what I'm really looking for. So I'm happy for this.
What are you really looking for? Not frustration.
I guess I was always, when I came to a new place, then I was so happy, and there was just excited. And then there were some things I saw that I got frustrated with, and I didn't know that that was the feeling. So I didn't really I didn't want to feel it, and then the next place was coming. So I couldn't really face this frustration. And while the tour, I needed to go into the next door and into the next door. And I also listened in the car about something with Osho. A book of Osho. So there was also, I don't know really what he told me in words, but the message was that I felt more and more this frustration, or I let it go more through me to feel it and to accept.
Yeah, well, probably when you experience something like frustration, there are different things that you can learn from that, just by trying to understand what is behind, behind this emotion of frustration. What is behind, and you can see that, for example, you're out visiting shops offering honey from our Art of Honey studio. And then, of course, you have the expectation you're going to sell honey and that they're going to welcome you and so on and so on. So when it doesn't happen, you can feel frustrated. And last week, you did the biggest selling in the history of our honey studio. You sold really the biggest order last week. So I probably, when you did that order, you felt very lifted up, very happy, very excited, maybe those kind of very positive emotions. And now 1 week later, doing the same thing you did last week, basically, you come to frustration. 1 week is happiness and excitement, and the next week frustration and whatever else goes with that.
Yes, also that when I felt this happiness and when I sell something and I feel like happy, then something is always holding me back to express this excitement, because I have also in the back mind to be afraid that I'm more frustrated when I'm not successful. So I'm holding me back to feel that happiness, to feel that thing, what is there when I sell something. Yeah. So, and I thought also that's not the truth. I need to feel both. When I'm frustrated, then I need to can feel it, and when I sell something, I can allow myself to feel it, but I just see that it's not happening.
Yeah, well, it's not so easy to let it happen because we have strong ideas about how things should be. You know, I should be, for example, happy. I should be happy or something. But you can see now that last week you were very happy and this week you're very frustrated. So the same woman doing the same thing, 1 week brings her happiness and the next week brings her frustration. But both of those things are not essentially much to do with Savita. And you can feel that, you know that. These experiences, whether it's a positive one or a negative one, they don't bring you to your essence. And you know, in some remarkable way, you traveled around the world, you had many experiences, and then you came back, and in a way, you could say maybe you got some idea of what you were looking for, still very young, and then somehow you found this community where you're living now, and this wasn't really on your plan. You had other plans. There were many festivals where you could dance in the forest and make music and do it, whatever young people do at these festivals. You were looking forward to that. And then somehow it changed. Somehow it's not your destiny. You know? What you thought you were going to be up to, going to the festivals, wasn't your destiny. And what seems to be your destiny is 1 week being happy and the next being frustrated. And out of those feelings, you know that's not really the truth. That's not really who you are. I think you already have a taste of that, don't you?
Yeah.
And you forget.
Very often. Very often.
Very often forget.
I deep inside, I know, you know, or I don't know. I don't know, so that leads me to trust more.
Right. So that's a step, you see. So then out of these things, you trust more, whatever that means for you. You trust a bit more than you trusted a month ago. And so this trust builds up. Yeah, this is a very important aspect, and it builds up little by little by little by little. Life is a mystery, you see. What are we all doing here? Thousands, millions of people. You know? You only have to go. You only have to go to any big city, and the shopping streets at this time of the year, getting near Christmas, are full of people, packed with people. What are they all doing? Rushing here, rushing there. on the motorway the same, the cars rushing here, rushing there. What are we all doing?
Everywhere I look at the sign, Black Friday, everywhere, Friday.
Right. So we've somehow created a very strange society, actually. Who cares about Black Friday? I don't even know what it means, actually. What does Black Friday mean, actually?
Black Friday is the last the week before like Christmas is coming, and everything is very cheap. Everything is very, very cheap, so the people can buy everything.
Okay, so it's good. Right. Is this when Jesus got drunk or something like that? Is that? Perhaps he had too much wine, you know. No. Black Friday. Okay. And you see what you experience going around the world, you see other people experience it through drugs or through alcohol. You know, people start to drink because they think they don't have to feel the pain by drinking. You know, it covers the pain, makes you feel a bit better, a bit brighter, a bit more happy. But of course, when you continue that on and on, then it doesn't really work. You don't feel more happy. It goes more and more difficult. More and more pain comes. So there is some kind of searching going on. I mean, when I meet people who have been alcoholic or they've been involved with drugs, some of these people can quickly change to a spiritual life because for me, it often indicates a searching for something, some higher meaning. Maybe they also want to somehow deal with strong things that happened when they were younger. Can also be like that. Okay, is that enough? Okay, so we have time for something else. Oh, we've got Helmut. Is that Helmut? Who is that down there? Helmut.
Yeah.
Hello, you've got your camera working. Did I meet you before?
Nein. Ich war auf einigen Retreats bei Gangaji, Eli, Eckhart Tolle, Tony Parson, aber dir bin ich noch nicht begegnet.
Ich übersetze gleich, aber ganz kurz, Helmut, könntest du den Ton bei deinem Computer ausmachen, weil sonst haben wir so ein
Okay, ja.
Can somebody translate for him? He did very well. I heard everything he said, but I need a translation.
Rada?
Oh, you said okay. I have been to many retreats from Gangaji, Eli Jackson Beer, and Tony Parsons, but I haven't met you.
Okay, we have now. We'll start now.
Ja, du fängst jetzt damit an.
Warum?
Ja.
Ich habe seit einiger Zeit Panikattacken, meditiere viel und immer wenn ich zur Ruhe komme, habe ich dann immer wieder irgendwelche komischen physischen Symptome. Bin komplett durchuntersucht, das ist alles in Ordnung, bin gesund. Ich habe das mit den Gedanken, bekomme ich irgendwie hin, aber es ist immer, wenn ein komisches körperliches Symptom kommt, wirft es mich irgendwie wieder aus der Bahn.
So I'm getting panic attacks since some time, and I'm meditating a lot. And when I become quiet, then I have physical symptoms. I went to the doctor and checked everything out, so is everything all right? But when I become quiet, there are physical symptoms.
What kind of symptoms?
Welche Art körperliche Symptome?
You feel some kind of stress, or there is some energy moving in through the body, through the spine, maybe?
Also fühlst du, ist das Stress oder ist das Energie durch den Körper, durch die Wirbelsäule zum Beispiel fließt?
Na, es ist sehr unterschiedlich. Es ist manchmal bekomme ich so ein bisschen Atemnot, manchmal einfach so Herzklopfen oder einfach totale Verspannungsgefühle im Nacken.
So it's different. So sometimes I can't breathe anymore, or there's heart beating, or I get tension in my neck.
Right, right. And this comes when you've been meditating,
Und
or
das kommt,
it comes just suddenly in your daily life, or it particularly comes after meditating?
kommt das, wenn du meditierst, oder kommt das so in deinem täglichen Leben oder speziell, wenn du meditierst?
Nein, nein, nein. Das Meditieren beruhigt mich wieder. Da komme ich wieder zur Ruhe. Aber im täglichen Leben kommt das dann ganz spontan. Und dann wirft es mich wieder aus der Bahn und ich meditiere dann wieder, dann beruhige ich mich wieder, aber es geht immer so auf und ab.
So this meditating gets me calm again. So it happens in my life out of something, and then I meditate more, and then it calms me down again. So it's like an up and down.
Okay. So whatever these things are, they're helping you to meditate more.
Also was auch immer das ist, es hilft dir, dass du mehr meditierst.
Ja, eindeutig.
Right. I mean, if you spent time with Tony Parsons and Gangaji and Eli, then you obviously have some profound interest in knowing yourself.
Also wenn du ja Zeit mit Tony Parsons, Eli Jackson, Beer oder Gangaji verbracht hast du ja doch ein tieferes Interesse an dich selbst kennenzulernen.
Is that right?
Ja,
Stimmt das?
Ja, irrsinnig. Und ich hatte ein sehr spezielles Erlebnis mit Ile. Ich weiß nicht, wie man das nennt, aber es war ein absolutes Tiefenerlebnis, ganz spontan. Ich bin ihm zufällig im Aufzug begegnet, habe ihm in die Augen geschaut und war spontan im Paradies.
Yeah, definitely. And I had a very special experience with Eli. I met him by accident in the elevator and looked into his eyes, and suddenly I was in paradise.
Right. How many years ago was that?
Wie viele Jahre ist das her?
Das ist 4 Jahre her, ja.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay, good. Yeah. So is that roughly this 4 years is your spiritual kind of time and meditating time is 4 years, or were you already doing spiritual work before you met Eli in the elevator?
Heißt das, dass so dein spirituelles Leben und dein Meditieren seit 4 Jahren so ist, oder hast du schon vorher meditiert, bevor du Eli im Aufzug begegnet bist?
Ich habe vorher schon viel meditiert, habe tibetische Pulsheilung gemacht, also der spirituelle Weg ist schon länger. Ja, es ist seit der Begegnung mit Ila ist nur die Sehnsucht nach der absoluten Freiheit so immens. Darum bin ich ständig. Nur Ila ist leider nicht so greifbar für mich, weil er nicht mehr nach Europa kommt und irgendwie bin ich auf der Suche nach einem Meister, der greifbar ist für mich. Weil die
So
Sehnsucht
I meditated before, and but since I met Eli, it's the longing got more stronger, longing to the inner freedom. But
Right.
As Eli is not coming to Euro, he's like not catchable. So he's
Right.
looking for somebody, for the master, who's more available.
Right. Well, as you see, I'm very old, so I can't run very fast.
Also, wie du siehst, bin ich ja sehr alt, ich kann nicht so schnell laufen.
Where do you live in Germany?
Wo lebst du denn in Deutschland?
Ich lebe in Österreich.
In Austria.
In Austria. Okay. Well, we have a very nice house, rather big house, beautiful house. And we have a bunch of people living here together. And we're always welcome when I mean, probably you work a lot, but if you're not working so much, maybe you come and visit us sometime.
So, wir haben ein schönes, großes Haus hier leben einige Menschen zusammen und wahrscheinlich arbeitest du sehr viel oder wenn du halt nicht arbeitest, bist du herzlich willkommen, hier vorbeizuschauen.
And, earlier in the meeting, we were watching a very short little film, and I could suggest that if you're interested to know more about John David after this meeting, you could start by going to my website, which is johndavid.international, johndavid.international. And when you go to the website, you can find a menu which says Satsang. And if you go to Satsang, you can find another menu which says videos. And if you click on videos, then you can find this video we show tonight. And there's recently we made about 15 of these very short videos where I'm talking about some particular aspect. And I could suggest that if you would like to know more about John David, you could start these very short little films. And if that touches you, then you can click on another title and you can find longer films. So in the last 20 years, I've made 6 spiritual films, which you can find on that page. And in particular, I could suggest a film called The Pointless Joy of Freedom.
So, wir haben am Anfang ja einen kleinen kurzen Film gezeigt und wenn du nach dem Meeting interessiert bist, kannst du auf John Davids Webseite gehen. Die ist johndavid.international und dort gibt es einen Link Satsang und unter diesem Link Satsang gibt es einen Link, wo du diese Kurzfilme findest. Wir haben so 15 dieser sehr kurzen Filme in der letzten Zeit gemacht mit verschiedenen Topics und es gibt noch eine weitere Möglichkeit auf der Webseite, wenn du auf die längeren Filme zu kommen und wir haben einige Filme gemacht und da empfehle ich besonders den Film Grundlos glücklich.
Okay, Dankeschön.
If you survive all that, then maybe we'll see you soon.
Und wenn du das alles überlebt hast, vielleicht sehen wir dich ja dann bald.
I can be your Christmas present.
Ich kann dein Weihnachtsgeschenk sein.
Ja, Dankeschön.
Yeah. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Ja, schön dir zu begegnen.
Dankeschön.
Ja.
Ebenfalls. Dankeschön.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so maybe we finish now. Does anybody else like to?
Vielleicht beenden wir jetzt. Möchte jemand noch?
I'm not going to volunteer anybody at this point, but if somebody likes to, I can talk with you.
Ich will jetzt keinen mehr einladen, aber wenn noch jemand was sagen möchte.
Okay, so we have another meeting next Thursday at the same time, and then one more meeting on the 7th of December. And then we're off on the 10th of December, we're off to India. So exciting times. And I'm going to see quite a few of you in a week's time for our Sangha weekend. We look forward to that. And yeah, so thank you.